And we're live, and it's Friday, and
Ah,
welcome to the Friday Grief Chat. I'm Jill,
I'm Deb.
and we are the Friday Grief Chat, also known as
We
Humor, Grace, and Grief.
we are and talking about all things that other people don't talk about. But right now, Jill, since you're in Chicago with your sister, and I imagine you're feeling a little grief about it. I wish I was home where it's warmer.
I wish I were home. I wish I had. I wish I were seeing my wife and my daughter. I wish I had my doodle bugs. I'm glad
Yeah.
I get this time with my sister because how many adult siblings actually get to spend prolonged times with their siblings?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and my other sister who's at home in California is sick right now, so I'm glad I'm not around her because
Yeah,
I want her to get better, but I don't want to be around illness.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's that, but I miss being outside
Yeah, yeah.
because you can't do that when it's I don't know how many degrees outside, but it's too cold for that.
You know, just depending, and it really depends. Sometimes we're colder than Chicago. Sometimes Chicago's colder than where we are. And it's actually in the 30s here, I think. And,
It
you
is here
know,
too, but it's snowy and icy
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I see if you don't know the Southern California lifestyle, our all of our spare time is on the patio, in the backyard, in the front yard with the neighbors. It's not inside for
Yeah,
walks.
it,
It's just not the
yeah, that's
thing.
how it is here. They put those tests on Facebook. Who could stay in their house for a whole month? I could, for real. I mean, I really enjoy the different rooms in our house, and we have a fireplace in one and a TV in the other, and it's really quite lovely.
Yes.
So, and
And
there's
it
always
looks quite
crafts.
lovely. And her house is, I mean, she's got these 14-foot ceilings and
Right.
there's a balcony, but it's covered in snow.
Uh-huh.
And I just am used to being able to you get up in the morning, you make your coffee, and you step out onto the patio, and the doodle
Yeah.
bugs follow, and
Yeah.
it's
You've got
just
your routines. Isn't
I
that
don't have
funny?
doodle bugs here.
And going through this while you haven't had to have a major move, nobody died, things like that. So you can see how
Mhm.
you can have grief just from you're grateful for some, and then it's it's
There are
still not
blessings,
it. Yeah.
there are bright spots, and there is loss.
You
And the
know,
bright spot is I get time with my sister, and I get to figure out what's going on with her. Yeah, Stacy says it's too cold, and she has the doodle bugs, and she does.
oh, nice. Do you know the other part, in case our readers, our listeners don't know, there is stress and then there's what's called eustress, EUSTRESS. And
Mhm.
that means stress, eustress is when you want to happen, when it needs to be an enjoyable time. Notice I said it needs, like weddings and the birth of a new baby are known as eustress
Mhm.
because it's still stress. It's still change in routines. It's change. And what you're going through really is you're grateful and
That's
um
right. The ampersand that sits behind Deb at all times. It's the and.
do you
Mhm.
know we've said this before. Jill and I are going to be doing a 6 hour um, conference or
Loneliness
workshop
presentation and all
on
that stuff.
loneliness, right?
Mhm.
And last night I had my first class with Julie Ostro, a friend of mine through the Association of Applied and Therapeutic Humor, on improv, and she was very impressed that I have that ampersand right there. And I said, we use it a lot in grief coaching. And we talked about that. And I'm really excited to be able to bring improv as a therapeutic modality in and introduce
Into the
it.
presentation. Yeah.
Yes. And if anybody's interested, our presentation will start, it's May 31st for 6 hours. And, I'm just saying, you can come to, you can still see me.
Yeah.
You can come to our presentation, and if you don't want to go to the rest of the conference, you can leave. It is not required that you come, but we're hoping that you want to come and learn how Jill and I give programs that have humor, have activities, and then you can take that to your practice. And very
And we're being
practical
very
things.
deliberate about making sure everything is stuff that you can literally just take right home with you and use,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
regardless of where your practice is or what your practice is. And
exactly.
you can use it for yourself, the ampersand and.
And
Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Um, and I do need to contact the people we said we'd contact to talk about
Mhm.
coming online to talk about and sign up for our presentation as well as everybody else's. Um, so we'll be having more information coming forward for everybody there. Um, where was I going with this? Oops, I didn't leave enough breadcrumbs. Uh-oh, it happens.
And I'm doing a presentation on grief and loneliness for seniors later this month in Riverside at our our big senior center. So we're kind of rolling it all out. I'm reading
Right.
the great book on doing improv with grief, and we both enjoy humor with grief. It's something that's a necessity
Hmm.
to get through grief. It's something I'm using to survive living in the snow and learning how to understand Chicagoans.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I went to a funeral last week, and I had forgotten two things about Chicago streets, Jill. And maybe you have discovered that um have discovered this already, that we have that in Chicago, first, they're narrow streets, and they park on both sides. Have you
Yes,
discovered that already?
and you have to
And
wait for
then,
one car to come before you can go, and then the car behind you gets mad, and they don't just honk. No, no, these people lay on the horn. Stacy's right, there are cultural differences. Because oh my
yes,
goodness, I'm from
yes,
California, we smile at now sometimes we also use fingers, but we smile, we wave.
right,
"Sure, go
right.
ahead." Not these people. Oh,
No,
no.
no,
Mm-mm.
no, no.
And my sister
The,
wisely said, "Yeah, Chicago's like a country unto itself."
mm, the other thing that I had forgotten about, that when they fill potholes, they don't just fill them, because they know that it will sink, 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 sink. So they pile way up. And sometimes they even put an arrow. And so when I went down the very narrow street with my friend on our way to the funeral and looking for parking,
Which is
which there's
impossible.
tons of rules, and you got to get out and read signs, and you better not have astigmatism. So I said to my friend, as I went just a wee bit faster than the speed limit on this filled in pothole that was still 18 inches. I said, wow, that cleared out my bladder. And then the next
Oh,
bump, I said, yep, that's better than lithotripsy. That that kidney stone just got loosened, and I'm sure it'll be traveling out. It's now a bunch of pebbles. So the
absolutely.
culture alone is
Yeah.
is it's just a country unto itself, which is part of the political scene in this state and why Southern Illinois wants to vacate. So, because
And
they don't feel part of that country.
yep. And Stacy's pointing out I'm on a big learning curve. I'm living in my sister's very, very observant Jewish household,
Yes,
which is very different from our very not Southern California households. So lots
yes.
of rules, lots of changes, lots of different ways of preparing foods and all of those things. It's
Yeah, it's
yeah,
you have gone to a country within a country.
that is exactly what that is. It's a big learning curve. So, and then yeah, just trying to navigate they got one-way streets and they've got ice on the street and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, so but
yeah,
I've also enjoyed seeing things like there are big churches here that have signs that say ice out, and
yes.
the folks here have a definite opinion,
Mhm.
and I have
Mhm.
appreciated that. I know there are alternative opinions here, but I've appreciated those signs as well being up. So
And Illinois, along with California, has, and several states will be following because the administration pulling out of the World Health Organization, we have joined parts that we can be part of. And
mhm,
so Illinois and California are very much in sync. And that gives me some comfort.
and some hope.
So, and some hope.
Mhm.
Um
And I have to
be,
point out the hospital here has bunnies on its grounds.
well,
Little brown bunnies.
I that's really cute, but it's really not that uncommon because hospitals all around here have rabbits and squirrels and lots of wildlife. And if there's a park nearby, they have deer. So I'm just telling you
See, it's
that
cultural.
it's a cultural, I guess. I mean,
Ours
we
have
have,
coyotes that roam around sometimes.
yeah, no, 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 no. We have that here, but
And
that's only
raccoons.
because,
Mhm.
and raccoons, yeah, raccoons, they'll eat whatever people put out. We've been putting stuff because the snow is so deep. And the bird feeders, yeah, they're okay. I just put a box out of seeds and nuts
Mhm.
and don't anybody get mad at me, but they're organic corn chips. So there you
You know
go.
what? I saw a squirrel eating a, donut.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
pizza.
right.
And speaking of, um, there was an article just recently. I think they were about Juncos, and I apologize if or wrens. And what it was is when students are around, I think this was somewhere on the East Coast, the wintry East Coast. And when the students were there and throwing out pizza and all these things, the beaks actually got shorter and of these wrens or juncos or whatever. And then when there was less food like that, junk food, and more seeds and nuts and things like that, the birds' beaks got longer. Isn't that
Mhm.
interesting?
They
Sort of like
adapted.
they adapted and they adapt quite quickly over 2 years.
Mhm.
So, and
That's
Stacy
Stacy.
said, yes, I've heard that your beak gets longer depending on the food that you get, Stacy. Yeah, I heard that. And so Jill reported that to me one time. I don't know when.
Yeah.
Um, In the thanatology world, I wanted to say another article that I read, didn't write this article, just recently, is that one of the best therapies that still works the best is talk therapy.
Yes.
And that's what they're finding uh, in grief and for people that are heavy into, and it's immobilizing them. The talking through it and moving forward is
It's the
really
part of it. It
important.
is. That's what it takes, and it's for some folks, it takes longer. For
Mm-hmm.
some folks, it takes less time. For those who have multiple losses pancaked on one another, it can
Mm-hmm.
take a bit longer, and there can be pieces left over from all of them that coalesce around a central theme, which can get someone stuck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's that finding a way to bring the loss into present and incorporate it into current life, and to let go of the things that you are beating yourself up for, which is what prolongs grief. It's that guilt and the
Mm-hmm.
shame and all of those things. And that takes talking, and that takes self forgiveness and self awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that some the quick get it through therapies don't manage. They don't do guilt.
No,
They don't
no.
do what ifs. That's not part of it. I fully appreciate
Mhm.
therapists who do all the other kinds of therapies, but it's the talk, the traditional old-fashioned talk therapy that really walks you through what's left and how to make it fit into current life.
Mhm. I I want to ask you, Jill, from obviously, you can't give away any details, but what are the top 3 griefs? Not like divorce, death, or whatever, but what are the things that people uh go through that are the hardest for them? And I'm thinking in both from what I've heard from my hospice experience and grief coaching, it's sh- sort of like having to do with medicine. Did I was I supposed to give her that medicine, or shouldn't I have given it to him?
It's
Those
the
kinds.
second guessing of, did I do everything right? It's
Mhm.
the, what didn't I say, or what did I say that I regret?
Mhm.
And it's, was I good enough? Did I do what I should have done?
Right.
Those are the things that folks tend to struggle with the most. And then the fourth one is, would they approve of how I'm doing my life now?
Yeah.
Right? Would I have permission to do what I'm doing from them? And or how I'm doing my grief. Am I doing it the way they would like? Those are the
Yeah.
things that hang people up. That's what I've heard about consistently all week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. That's what I'm gonna hear
And
about this afternoon, and those are the things.
I was talking about before we got on an incident that happened at sounds like guilt to me, says
Exactly
the
what it
Jewish
is.
boy. Yes. And so I was talking about an incident that happened at church, and actually 2 incidents. And one, am I doing the right thing by, and then fill in the blank, when they have
Right.
to do something really hard, like call the police on someone, or get the police involved. Am I am i doing okay when I have to file an order of protection, or I have to do this? Or should I have, like, not done what I was supposed to do, but I really felt like I was supposed to do this? You know,
Right.
th- that that second questioning, when I tell people, most people have very good gut instincts,
Mhm.
but then they doubt them right afterwards.
Or they
So,
pick at every little moment.
yeah.
But when you are, especially when you're experiencing a long loss, a long illness that's just exhausting. We started
Hmm.
this program during COVID, which was shocking and sometimes long losses and sometimes short ones, and it was catching everyone off guard.
Hmm.
Things got said, and that happens too when there's a long loss, when there's whether it's cancer or dementia or pulmonary or hypertension or whatever it is. We all have those moments where we're just human, where I am so sorry, but it just happens and it's human. And that's the one that sticks right here. Not all the hundreds of hours that don't involve that.
Right.
That one
Right.
insignificant moment that they aren't keeping with them on the other side, but is just gnawing at the back of your head. And you're right, Ian, it's the guilt. It's
It's the
like,
guilt.
how could I have done that? You were human. You were tired. You might have been hungry. You were worn out. You had too much to do. There were bills to pay. Illness is expensive. Maybe kids needed to go to school or, some other family member needed something. It's all that stuff.
I will tell you one that I have heard, I can't tell you how many times. I stepped out of the room only for a minute, or I had to go to the bathroom, and the person dies, and they go,
Mhm.
"Why did I do that?" Because you had to do that. And this has been said. I don't know that it's been said to make someone feel better, but maybe that person didn't care if you were in there or not.
Mhm.
Not as like, I don't care, more like, at what point does it matter if someone is inside the room when you die or not? I mean, you do your best, but you have to pee.
And you try your best to stay awake, like Stephen's
Yes.
talking about, but we have to sleep. Our bodies require rest.
Yeah, Steve.
And,
That I mean,
and
yeah,
Ian's right, it is true across the board. We tend to focus on the negative.
yeah.
I was on a dementia group this week, where I jump in frequently, and someone was talking about Capgras syndrome, which is a little known syndrome where someone with dementia sees you as the other you, right? So it's you're the Jill and then you're the bad Jill. You're the
Oh,
Deb and then you're
yes,
the
yes,
better Deb. And
yes,
there may
yes.
be 3 or 4 of you. You all have the same name. You all look alike, but you're not the right one of you. And someone was saying, I'm arguing with my loved one and I can't get them to stop. And I'm telling them I am who I am. And that's where the humor and the grief and the grace came in. I said, I just stepped outside and put a different shirt on and came back in as the other Jill until the right Jill walked in. I maybe had to change my shirt 4 times, but eventually I was the right Jill. Right.
Yes.
And do I hold on to those as, oh, I should have done that? No, that was just coping. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with a coping skill.
No, no, and sometimes I call it therapeutic fabrication. I
Right.
learned that from an activity director at a dementia Alzheimer's home.
We call them
And
fiblets.
fiblets. Oh,
Fiblets.
wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And so,
great.
and what is it, Deb? Tell me how they described it.
Well, what it is when you support the person with dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever mind altering disease they have, and you support them in believing that, be, even though it is not what is going on with in the reality that you know. Like, say, oh, don't you remember? Don't say, oh, don't you remember? Here's one of my ones that I had the most fun with, so that I didn't get bored. Constantly a client would say, oh, when's Lois coming? Well, Lois, his wife, had died 5 years earlier. He had dementia, and some sort of Alzheimer's disease. And we all
And he
said,
wanted
and
Lois.
he wanted Lois, so we said she's out shopping.
Yes,
Oh, he
always.
could buy that. Or I embellished. I go, well, you gave her your credit card and now she's out shopping. And he would laugh. And that memory probably gave him just a little boost of something. Plus, he laughed. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. In fact, that is the preferred.
Right.
Um, yeah, it
It was
just,
when my dear friend Mari was dying years ago. She was young. She was in her early 40s and should not
mhm.
have been dying of cancer, late 30s. And she was in the hospital bed, and it was the final day or two. And she'd asked to see me, and I came up and we talked through some old stuff. And then she slept for a moment and she came back and she said, "Can I still get the new truck?" "Of course you can get the new truck. Which one do you want?" "Well, I
Yes,
want the Toyota with the double cab and the extra and the extended bed because I think I would look like the perfect dyke in that truck. I want that truck." And I said, "Well, we will go shopping for that truck just as soon as you're ready." And she smiled and she laughed and she said, Do you think that Linda, her wife, would let me?" "Oh, yeah, Linda would let me." Linda would let you." "Okay." And she smiled and she giggled like a little girl. And she died within probably 12 to 24 hours, but it made her happy.
exactly. Exactly.
I lied through
And,
my teeth.
that's why people say, Deb, you say you lie all the time. And I go, I use therapeutic fabrication a lot,
Mhm.
and people can take what they want from that. I'm
Right.
the nurse in me, and probably the therapist in you, the nurse in me knows that whenever I write notes, you have to write them as if they will appear in court.
Right.
And that's what you have to do. But I always tell the truth about therapeutic fabrication.
It's the only
That's,
way to do it.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm. And that's something that people then beat themselves up for, and they
I know.
shouldn't. That's the
Right.
guilt, right? And it's not. It's you did the repeat after me. I did the very best I could with the
I did the
information
very
I had
best good with the information I had
in that moment of time.
in that moment of time.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Because
And
and then you have to believe it.
you have to you have to act it.
Mhm.
That's right. You
And
have
you
to
have to forgive
sound
yourself.
convincing.
And you
Yeah,
have to forgive yourself for the things that you think are unforgivable because they're not here to forgive you. And unless you were intentionally being cruel, if it was,
right.
then it was just you in the moment. And at times we just don't have everything we need to keep ourselves collected in a moment. We just don't.
Mhm. That's right. Oh, well, Jill, did it get any warmer since you've been there the last 30 minutes?
No. And we got more snow coming, but it's
You
gonna be
did.
warmer tomorrow. It's gonna be, I think, up to 40 tomorrow,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then we're dropping back down.
Yes, so be careful.
Yeah.
And
I have to go buy a Bears sweatshirt tomorrow while my sister is home, observing Shabbat. So I'm gonna go out Bears sweatshirt shopping.
all right, you go to Walmart or
Okay.
someplace
Wherever
like
I can
that.
find on a city street. I'm not taking freeways.
Yeah, whatever's around, even thrift shops, whatever's
Mhm.
around.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
All the
Oh,
fun, all the Chicago, all the Illinois. I know all of you who live in cold weather really enjoy this stuff, and I'm so glad you do. And I so belong on the West Coast.
thanks, Jill. Um, for our listening audience, next week you're going to be traveling on Friday,
Right.
right?
I might
And
be on because I don't have to leave the house that early, but my sister has a doctor's appointment too.
yeah, so we may replay last week or the weeks before, so that both Jill and I can do what we need to do. So you might get we deserve it.
If we give you a rerun, it's because we love you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ian.
And it was
And
good.
Stacy, meet Ian. Ian is who we need to go visit in Italy. There we go.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Shabbat shalom for those who are following, and happy weekend to the rest. And
And
go Seahawks.
go Baltimore. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just into who's playing Bad Bunny. So that's who I'm into.
That's exactly right. All right, everybody. We'll see you week after next, week after next. We'll see you then.
All right, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye, dear.